Alright, this is the 2444. I brought this thing 2-3 years ago for scrap metal price, $400, just like you see it. Now, this thing is in really bad shape. It was in worse shape. I sprayed this thing real quick like with this magic paint. And this is not that good of a grain of paint, as you see. But it's sitting outside too, but still, it shouldn't be peeling off like that. I ain't spent a lot of metal prep time either. I just sanded. I did wire brush it a little bit, and that was it. Cause it was just yellow, and I couldn't stand it being yellow. I didn't want it yellow no more. All right, I'm gonna sell this tractor, but this loader is not going. I'm gonna start at the beginning here. It runs hot after about 2 hours, and it will slowly creep up there. It's not no start up and just shoot to the top. I had to replace the thermostat on a flush the radiator multiple times, at least 4 or 5 times. I flushed the radiator. That's not the problem. It'll run, the loader will load my dump truck, but like I said, it won't load it but one time. You gotta let it cool off. I usually load it and wait till the next day and load it again. But that's one problem. They're running hot. Problem. All right, this front wheel is fine. I'm gonna start at the front and go to the back on this thing. This front wheel needs to be replaced. This one wobbles. It's all, this front wheel is all cobbled and boogered up. Now, y'all ever seen an axle housing egg shaped like that with a spindle in? I bought this tractor in the county in the blind. Brought it county in the blind. What I mean by that, my neighbor down the road, I knew he had this tractor. He said, "You want to buy it or move it? I'm selling the house and I'm moving." I said, "What you want for it?" He said, $500. I said, "I'll bring you $400 today." He said, "I'll take it." So I went there and brought it. It was shed kept. It was in the shed. So I asked some questions, went there and brought it, drug it up on, winched it up on the trailer, brought it to the house. It has stuck push rod and some other stuff. All right. After I got it started, I immediately noticed it was knocking. So what I did was with that, I took the oil pan off. The crank needs to be turned. So I didn't have the money to have all that done. So what I did was, and I don't put up very many hours on this thing with this loader. Not here lately, because it's been parked. The manifold gasket's blowed once again. Except once again, the manifold is warped and rusted out against the head. And I done double gasket in Permatex. It'll last for a very good while. And it'll eventually blow it again. All right, manifold. I cannot buy, it's got the C53 gasoline engine. I cannot get a new crankshaft. I wasn't able to locate one, not a new one. So that one needs to be built back up and grinded back down. What I did was, for temporarily fix, because like I said, I couldn't afford to tear this down and take the crankshaft out and all that, I hand fitted a rod bearing to it. In other words, I kept grinding it down and shimming the bearing until I got the space right in it. So I put very many hours on it like that. And it's not pulling the gas to the carburetor right now as it sits. It's not drawing the gas to the carburetor because it's sucking too much air between the intake to pull the gas to the plugs. You shoot starter fluid in the pour gas in the spark plug hole, it'll crank it up, burn it out. It's blowed. I'm not pulling it back down. What I came out to it. All right, I'm gonna get a little further here. It needs a starter. It needs a flywheel ring. It's got a bad spot in the flywheel. All right, I've already rebuilt the oil pump already. When I had it down, and even after I rebuilt the oil pump, the oil pressure will still get down to 10 pounds and sometimes below that after you ran it for an hour and a half. So that means the main bearings are bad. And when the main bearings are so bad in it, which they're not that big of a problem, you can get the crank built up and fixed. I only use this thing for this loader, nothing else. Nothing else. I don't use it, none of that. I pulled a disc with it a couple times last year, working on my garden. but it didn't have enough hydraulic power on it. The rear lift needs to be rebuilt. The seals and all in the lift pump needs to be rebuilt. You know what I'm saying? It's great power steering. Let's go on back. We need a flywheel ring. We need a crankshaft turn. Axle spindles got to be built up. New front wheel. Something's going on with the overheating. May need to do the new radiator. Maybe that stuff I'm putting in is not cleaning the radiator. I'm not sure. But come on back a little further. And it needs a clutch. It don't slip in low gear on the low side, but you get in the highway with it, it slips. It's oil leaking on the clutch. And it needs pressure plate. Pressure plate's really weak in it. It's got a really weak pressure plate. I push that one thumb. And it's got a dual clutch in. It's like $600 for a clutch kit for this thing. Because it's a dual stage clutch, meaning it's a PTO clutch and a drive clutch. It does have the shuttle shift box in here for the forward and reverse. It does have the shuttle shift. All right. Running hot, spindle, wheel, crankshaft, starter ring, clutch. All right, between the clutch and back, the transmission is fine. There's nothing wrong with the transmission. The transmission is fine. The power steering is great. The front mounted hydraulic pump works great. I mean, got a front mounted pump. All right. The tires on the back rear are okay. They've been sitting out here, they ain't been flat down time. Got real weights on it. And that is one strong loader. It would dangle that front and the back end off the ground with no problem. That is a strong loader and pump. All right, get back here. The hydraulic lift under the seat needs rebuilding. All right, you lift the lift up. As soon as you cut the engine off, it leaks right back down. It picked up that 6-foot bush hog I pulled behind the Super A. And that's where I only used this thing with 3-point when I was in a bind and needed to use it. Keep swapping implements so much. This tractor's like 47 horsepower. What I was using it for, I can do the same thing with a 15 horsepower tractor. I can pull the same implement with a 15. I just felt like it was a waste of gas. And then, like I said, it will run hot after about 2 hours. And it was a slow run hot. It won't just start it up and 5 minutes as the gauge is buried out of sight. It won't like that. I replaced everything in these brakes while I had it down. I replaced everything in here, the actuator piece, the pads and all. All is new on both sides. I said, the lift needs to be rebuilt. I don't know how much that's gonna cost. I never looked into it. All this is fine. All this works fine. I'm gonna put this on the M, Super M. This is a 2250 loader. I'm gonna put this on the M. I measured everything it's supposed to work. But I'm looking at crankshaft work, maybe some head work. The clutch kit is $600. I mean, starter rings about 140, I think. Main bearings, rod bearings, piston rings, basically a complete 100% engine rebuild from the head, from the top to the bottom, from the front to the back, all the way back to the clutch. I thought I added it up, all of that. The machine shop work on the crankshaft, I'm not quite sure about. That price be all over. I can tell you how much the head gonna cost for the machine shop. About $350 just get the head shaved and ported and polished and whatever else they do with it, check for cracks. That's $350 just for the head work. I mean, you add all this stuff up, you probably $3,000 into this, you know. And I don't use it, but the only thing I use this for is to load my dump truck. I have 1972 F700. I loaded it 3-4 times a year I use it to load that, or sometimes I would use it to just move stuff around in the yard. It's got a tremendous amount of blow by coming out the bow cover vent. Tremendous amount. I paid $400 for it. You know, I used it with the loader for a couple of years. You know, with not a whole lot of money involved. I hand fitted that one rod bearing. I did do that. I hand fitted that one bearing in there and rebuilt the oil pump. Now the oil pump's not a total loss. The oil pump will fit the 140 in the Super A. The bottom piece of it, I replaced the parts. All the parts, the cover was $200. The carburetor, the alternator, I'm gonna keep all of that. Maybe the starter. I mean, if someone wants it after I get the loader off of it, I'll sell it. I mean, the sheet metal's not all that great neither, because it had a loader on it. Stuff was always falling on top of the hood, you know. Sitting under these sweet gum trees here, but I mean, I'm just gonna take the loader and try to put. I know the loader will bolt directly on the M. Just the hydraulics, I'm gonna have to do some different plans with plumbing the hydraulics. So the major cost is the engine. I don't think rebuilding this would be that bad, but the engine and the clutch is gonna be expensive. I mean, that's what I kept telling I was holding myself off. The wind will blow my cover off of there, so there's no telling with the rain and going in there. But at this point, I'm not really worried about it. Like I said, I'm just gonna get the loader off of it and get what else I think I might can use maybe one day, and we're gonna scrap the rest of it. If anybody, I like to find a salvage yard that takes tractors and let them take it and maybe can salvage the rest of it. Like, it's got some decent rear fenders on it, wheel weights and stuff like that. I thought about keeping these tires, but I don't think these tires will fit anything that I'm gonna have here now. These are 13.628s. 13.628s. I'm saying they got weights on them and they're loaded. I say that. I mean, beefing this axle back up, that's not bad. I can weld some pipe in there to straighten that back up. Straighten this. That's why the wheel laid out. The whole spindle is egg shaped. The whole spindle is the whole thing is egg shaped. That's why the front wheel is so laid out on it. All right, I'm gonna explain why this tractor is so wore out. I've never seen a tractor been turned that much on the wheels, and it's an egg shape, them axles like that. When I was buying parts for it, I went to my local little family-owned place that sells tractor parts. I deal with them people a lot. I got the M parts from there last week. And it's an old guy, he's retired now. He was in there. I told him what I had. He said 2444. He said it was Southern States over here used to have 2444 that they loaded lime trucks with for years. Sure enough, I gave him the serial number, and he looked back through his books and records and stuff, and he found it. This truck was purchased new. It was called something else before it was Southern States, but it was Southern States' lime loading tractor. Makes sense. Looks like lime to me. Yeah, looked like lime to me. But this was the Southern States Co-op lime loading tractor for years and years. They loaded lime with it and fertilizer onto the spreader trucks. But that's why the engine will slam out. That's a C153 engine. I got so discouraged with this engine because internal parts is real hard to get. Like, I could not locate a new crankshaft nor a complete oil pump assembly. But if you have the C154 diesel, you can get all that. You can get an oil pump and a crankshaft new. I don't know what the deal is with the C153. It won't use a whole lot. And I think the 504 had that engine in it. But like I said, I'm not sure about that. I mean, anyhow, this is my 2444. This is the one I'm going to take the loader off of. I'm going to put it on the M, hopefully. The front mount pump is going to be a no-go on that because that goes through the front. And I can't send nothing through the front of that. Take my LED headlights out. I'm going to keep them. So I did a little work to it, just kind of get it going, you know, where I can use it to load my dump truck with. But I ain't spend a whole lot in it. Once I got to using it more and more and more and more, and I realized the PTO clutch slips too. I hooked a bush hog to it, and yeah, it wouldn't even hardly turn it. The PTO clutch is slipping so bad. And I said, it leaks oil from the engine from the front to the back. It leaks at the bottom of the transmission. It's leaking a transmission CO2 on hydraulic oil, which I can fix all of that while I had it split apart. It's not I'm not going to do it. It's just I don't have that kind of money to spend in this thing. Don't know when I'm going to have that kind of money. It's been sitting out here waiting, patiently waiting. But I said, I'll stumble across that M. So I'm just going to take the loader off of it. I'm going to put it on the M. And we're going to try the belly pump on the M on the hydraulics. And we're going to see what happens. And like I said, if anybody's interested in this thing, after I get what I need off of it, I'm gonna check out this power steering and see if it's maybe possible to put the power steering on that M, because it has excellent power steering, excellent. I'm gonna keep my new gauges and stuff I brought and put on. I even put a new fuel gauge on it. Put a new sending unit under here. Fuel gauge, new temperature gauge, key switch. So I mean. That shuttle shift, I think it's called a shuttle shift. I got all the manuals and everything to this thing. I think this shuttle shift was an option too. That's for the reverse. I was wondering what I mean shuttle shift. But yep, the old Southern States tractor. Used to load the spreader trucks with. Strong loader, crazily strong loader. Crazily strong for the tractor size. Loaded rear tires and wheel weights, and it'll dangle the back end off the ground. Anyhow, this is my 2444. I'm gonna scrap soon, so I get the kinks at the M. And this is a 67 or 68. But I'm gonna get this loader off of here so I can get a chance, and maybe sooner or later get it plumbed up to the M. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.